Alright, your non-resident trained course equipment operator, basic Navedtra 14081, Chapter 5. Rules of the road. Operators name for the vehicle to expected for the courtesy of the road, all times door for the driver, as well as the pedestrians, courtesy of the efficiency, safety, driver, the poor driver. Drivers practice curving the road with the help of prevent mishap the other vehicle injury. The pedestrians road courtesy are part of the basic rule of the road to include the procedure of the driving under the normal hazard special conditions. Information chapter does not being with these trucks with notified with the superseding the regulations laws enough the country, state, and municipal authority. For more information, your license examiner of the Navy driver, the handbook, Navy Fact MO3403 Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations Pocketbook ORS 7A Local Instruction. Defensive driving. You have the probable scenes, mainly example of the discurity of the road commentary with the display with the discurity driver that include the following impatience, such as road hogging, the excessive speed of the person, the character of the knowledgeable the driver, but it takes more knowledgeable than safety is concerned with the T with the gods do good safety, but record you must be a defensive driver at all times. Defensive drivers make it along with the lack of skill, experience of the driver to show also learns to recognize the mishaps, the proceedings of the situation and enough to avoid them. Defensive driver the yield the other drive the yield the right away rather than some mishap of the defensive driver to understand the responsibly show proper respect for the driving regulations rights of the others. As a professional equipment operator for the industry to demonstrate the business like courtesy that has the alert posture, the skill, performance behind the wheel, you'll handle the vehicle with the courtesy and smoothly, and always aware of the position of the vehicle, the relationship to other. If you keep the safety from the vehicle to have obey the traffic control signal, the individual directing of the traffic that you can make, and you not have to beef the brakes on your vehicle, or you should also keep the vehicle and proper lane, signal right, left, and turns in advance. Rarely have to make sudden stops. Avoid barrier end of collision. Most of the areas of the you will work and conserve the industrial and areas of the traffic will have the most of the time of the side of the vehicle to combine with the congestion traffic resolve the frequent and rear end collisions. Here are some of the precautions you can take to avoid rear end someone. Be sure that you have enough room to stop the traffic control. Keep enough distance between you and the vehicle in front of you stop so that you can brake lights and you see their brake lights and tail lights. Watch the movement of the vehicles of 2 or 3 vehicles ahead of you. Precautions can take to avoid someone of the rear end of this follows you. Ensure the brake at the turn signal is properly used for the mirrors and alert what's happening behind you. Do not stop suddenly if you can avoid it. Signal well advance and stop the lane change and turns. Drive well. Drive with the flow of the traffic. Drive too slow can be dangerous if it's driving is too fast. Or speed limit. Speed limits cover the many mishaps. Speed cover the many mishaps to avoid being fined with involved the mishap to obey the speed limit. Speed limit. Note the speed limit indicates how fast you may drive under good conditions. Several statutes are in the law book for the cover of the speed limits. However, that you are responsible for adjusting your speed with the weather and road conditions. Correcting a skid. Vehicle skids your direction with the skid regaining the control. Sometimes light pressure from the accelerator may help the vehicle to under pressure that do not apply with the brakes. Be careful that any of the lock with the wheels brake for the when used may be applied with lightly to relieve the quickly and skid beginning with the wave correct the skid figure 5-1. Driving under normal conditions. Normal driving conditions are encountered the day-by-day basis. Make cover the mishap. Be aware of the conditions. Driver the defensive driver. The monitoring at all times. Turning. Some mishaps cover the driver would do them in terms of correctly take the turn safely. Follow these guidelines. Jump and make the last-minute turns. Be aware of who's going around you. Check with your mirrors and rear view side of the use. When planning, make a turn in the intersection. Make the turn correct. Turning lane prior to approaching the intersection for the right turn. Correct lane is for the right turn. Correct lane. One next signal the right edge of the right over the roadway. Should be in the 2-lane road with the traffic in both directions. Left-hand turn that should be approached with the right half over the nearest road near silent line. Signal at least 100 feet before the turn. Make turn at a safe speed. Stay in the proper lane wheel and when turning the vehicle is coming the opposite direction. Have the right of way. Finish the turn in proper lane. Figure 5-2. Passing overtake with the passing other vehicle to be observed with the common rules. Passing extremely caution whenever the pausing of the vehicle to wake up with the view of them immediately beyond the other vehicle's belt lock with the side whether the greater the speed of the vehicle ahead with the minimum road space. The time and space is required to overtake the pass of the vehicle. The following restrictions overtake of the passing. Do not pass to the right another vehicle except the multiple lane divided highways more than 2 lanes of traffic moving in one direction. Only if the passing permitted use of extreme caution. Such instances do not pass intersection railroad crossing, do not pass Old Hill and curve except on the multiple lane divided highways, do not pass vehicle signal turn to turn moving into your lane traffic. Once you have started to overtake the pass of another vehicle, do not pass the center line of the road and it's solid on your side. Do not pass the right and the highway divided by the 2 solid lines. Do not pass single center line and solid. Alright, driving straight, rear wheels, correcting the skid, driving straight, rear wheels slide to the right, front wheels turning to the right, driving straight closer to the right into the right edge. Alright, left and right turns. Left from a one-way into the two-way roads. Left from a one-way into a one-way road. Left from a two-way road into the two-way roads. left from two-way into one-way roads. Parking. When parking in the parking lane of the street, you should have airwell with the traffic. The possible so they scrub the plus, the cool. They must down park with 1 foot away. They'll always park on the right side of the roadway unless there's one straight one-way street. Make sure the vehicle cannot reel set the parking brake with the shift the parking brake, automatic transmission, the reverse, the manual shifting to the front wheel to keep the wheels from rolling in the street. 4. Shift your vehicle lock over the shoulder to rear and make sure that they're clear. Backing up. Backing out of the vehicle's object power line with the pipe will consider the negligence or part of the operator to avoid backing mishap that you can use the common practice used in the NTF of the package of the valves. Blow the horn at least twice before reversing the vehicle. Alert the person surrounding the area of the vehicle is preparing the backup exit. The vehicle survey the area items. You can see the cab of the truck with the equipment backing up the unfamiliar area. Check the low power lines and fire hydrants, warning poles, guide wires, parked vehicles, other obstructions. As use to help guide with the signal person back up the guideways and see with the rear of the vehicle that is perform the backup operations. Survey the area of the communication of the backup guide so that you have both understanding of the backup operations. Positioning the wheels of the park of the vehicle facing up and downhill with no curb. Turn the wheels towards the shoulder. Turn them facing up the front wheels away from the curb. Facing downhill. Turn with the front into the curb. No, a majority of the backing mishaps that have occurred with the NTF that could have been avoided with the operators back up the guide. Ensure the reverse signal alarm works when he makes its restart of operational inspection. If the vehicle is equipped with the reverse signal alarm, if it must during the entire backward movement of the vehicle. Expressways are designed with a high-speed driver. The mishaps on them, the drivers must be aware of the skillful alt-wheel expressway entrance, the 3 basic drivers, an inch ramp, acceleration lane, and mirror length, to figure 5-4. On the entrance ramp, being dispatched, to check with the operation traffic, be sure to signal before they entering the right stand straight into the acceleration lane, but that lane continue to speed up to try the adjusting speed, but you can do with move the traffic, merge in the traffic so you can do so safely. You must shield the right of way with the traffic to express. You cannot always count on the other driver to provide moving over to give you room into the enter the move that does not accelerate the lane unless the traffic is heavy. There is no space to enter safely. When traveling on an expressway, you should never exceed the posted speed limit. You should maintain the distance between the vehicle to need for the safe hopping, avoid highway hypnosis, taking the rest of the opposite opening the window. Should you have the emergency situation develop, you should give the vehicle off of the expressway as safely as possible. After coming to a stop, should look behind the oncoming passing traffic before opening the door of the vehicle. When it's safe to do so, exit the vehicle and put the flasher light and the flares behind the vehicle to warn the other motorists. When leaving the expressway, get in the proper lane. Move before turning off. Before turning off, so use the turn signal to warn off the driver. Slow down the deceleration lane only. Check the posted speed with the exit ramp. Be prepared to obey the posted sign on the line. Stop at the yield merge. Should they miss your exit, do not stop and back up to the ramp. You must go to the next exit and turn around. Alright, periodic stops. During long distance operating equipment and long period of time that may become hyped down, that you need to stop at least every couple hours to walk around the vehicle to wake up, to loosen up, to improve the awareness, allows you to operate the equipment more safely. Your vehicle is stopped around, all walk around looking over the vehicle, give the quick safety inspection, look at your tires, check the lug nuts, ensure they are tight, listen to air leaks, and look at the leaks occurring during the operation of the engine, transmission differential, look at the general condition of the vehicle, check the load that is shifted. Or figure 5 shows how to enter the expressway, traffic flow, the merging area, the acceleration, the wrong, and do not enter the freeway. Enter here the sharp angle. Be prepared to adjust the speed approaching when adjust the freeway speed acceleration lane. Signal move carefully in the freeway lane. How to exit the expressway. Do not slow down here on the freeway deceleration lane. Slow down after turning the deceleration lane. Don't make a last minute turn off. Check for the posted safe speed with the ramp. Ensure the vehicle in the safe operation of the remainder of the shift. To check the physical condition of your operator. To be honest with yourself, the physical ability to drive the operate the equipment range of the shift that has been set with the public road and the job site with the most effects of the community reflects negatively not only on yourself but the Navy as well. Stay alert when driving and operating with be good representative. Alright, driving under hazardous conditions. The hazardous condition requires special undivided attention following paragraph of some of the guidelines intended to make the good operator under adverse conditions. Snow and ice. Snow and ice severely limit the traction vehicle to moving air with the fresh snow. Maintain slow, steady speed. Rapid acceleration likely to cause skidding. Cover the wheel. Should your vehicle be stuck in the hole of the snow, rocking it back and forth by shifting from the forward to reverse may enable to start again. Brakes when used should be applied with lightly released quickly in the skid beginnings. Hard packed snow, ice, and more dangerous to drive on the fresh snow. To increase the traction, put chains on all the driving wheels. Snow tires must help on the ice to add little no traction. Gauze the feeling security, deflating the tires a bit to assist with preventing the skid, snow, and ice to affect the visibility, stop the distance, maneuverability, vehicle control. Driving under such conditions, you should take the following precautions. Adjust the speed of the vehicle in existing conditions. Under normal conditions, at least one car with length between the vehicle with 10 miles per hour. The speed you're traveling at, increase the normal safety distance between the vehicles to allow hazardous conditions. Use tire chains, snow tire for the ice and snow. However, the remainder of there only aid to increase the traction. Do not eliminate necessity of adding caution. Slow down approaching bridges that overpasses shady area of the road surfaces and such area the frozen or freeze before regular roadway surfaces do and remain frozen longer. Keep outside with the windshield. Wipe the windows. Clear snow and ice for us all the time. Use the vehicle to foster to improve visibility. Turn on the headlight. Use the extreme caution when driving the fog. Apply the brakes and light pump in action to prevent skidding and using engine compression to help the control of the vehicle. 7. When sign will advance the warn on the intent of the stop return. Wet roads. When driving through the water, reduce speed to prevent the brake drum of the engine and the ignition getting wet. They have to apply the foot pressure of the brake pedal within entering the during the passage of the water deep enough for the engine of the brakes. Testing the brakes for effectiveness immediately after leaving the water. The water is the engine of the brake drum, the wetting linings of the vehicle. Drive slowly while gently applying the sufficient brake pedal to cause slightly drag, thereby squeezing the brake lines against the drums and forcing the water out of the linings. Alright, most roads are slippery just after begins to rain because the oil has dropped on the vehicle. Traveling on the road forms the film on the road. Under these conditions, the operator should proceed at slow speed because of the lace twice the normal stopping distance needed to stop the vehicle when roads are wet, where your tires may ride on a thin film of the water like skis in a condition called the hydroplaning, and you can easily lose control and skid when your tires are not touching the road. Keep your tires on the road, slowing down when the rains, having the correct air pressure and a good tread on the tires. Night driving. Some operators try to drive as fast as night as they do in the daytime. Should the speed always be reduced in nighttime? Driving is 2 to 3 times more dangerous than midday driving. Fatigue, sharply reduced vision, and the primary cause of the increased damage is steady hum of the motor direction for the road ahead, tended to the full lullness of sleep at the wheel while awake and driving necessary at all times, especially at night, since we cannot see as well with the night and the daylight. Driving safely after the dark requires particular skill and extra care. The following areas requirements practice applicable to driving at night driving, which should be carefully observed. Lower the beams of your headlight within the 500 feet of the approaching vehicle. Lower the beam of your headlight within 200 feet of the vehicle in front of you. Lower the beam of the headlight when driving on well-illuminated streets. Use low beams headlights driving in the fog with reduce your speed. Drive your high beam within the fog. Your light shining with your beam headlights on a mirror with light is reflected back into your eyes and blinds you. Your high beam headlights are when unsafe and illegal. Use low beam highlights all the time. All the time cuts down on your ability to see ahead. Using your high beams when you are not within 500 feet of the approaching vehicle. Avoid looking directly when the lights on. Commonly vehicles instead of the right-hand edge of the road. Keep your lights properly adjusted. Lower beams not aimed upward and approaching the driver's eyes. Keep your windshield clean. Slow down the facing of the glare of the approaching headlights. Be sure the can stop necessary with the variation distance of the headlights of the vehicle. You constantly pedestrians along with the roadside. Your headlights are from 1/2 of the hour before the sunset with 1/2 hour after sunrise. Any of the time visible with reduce. Fog or smoke. Driving the fog or smoke will greatly reduce the visibility of the techniques described earlier when driving the wet roads. Again, slow down, turn on the low beam, the headlights be already to fast stop. Driving under special condition, you may have to operate the vehicle in unique condition that you have to perform these conditions discussed in the following paragraphs. Alright, the major problem of the sand president if the gain traction without digging the sand with the stabilize with the large volume of the water, but assume the dries out, with often tires spin with the digging into the sand rapidly with causing jerking motion from the driving line. The jerking motion can cause the sphere damage the axle differential propeller shaft. All wheel driver vehicles have difficulty, but they consume considerable power. Should you have to operate with the sand, here are some of the actions help you with which the down able to partially deflate the tires to keep the tires wider footprints of the traction. You can mount the brush with wire graft, lumber, anything with the bridge and over, allow you to spread the load of the vehicle over the large area. The cross country. Driving cross country produces the many of the problems. Should you have to drive cross country, the best have someone walk with you in the front of your vehicle to look at the holes and some of the ditches may be damage for the vehicle. Proceed slowly, low gear possible. Avoid the wet marsh of the areas possibly becomes marsh with the cuts of the over brake through the drive over the wind and breaks through. This little can be done, little you can do, but call for the assistance to be towed. Watch out the stumps, the rocks, anything to watch for which you may get in the high center. But sometimes the better kept than the tires on the large rocks or go over them rather than straddle them. Stumps that may be cut off with your vehicles clear. Our driving hours are regulated by the U.S. Department of Transportation Code Federal Regulation of the California Regulation Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulation Package ORS 7A. The restrict the driver number for the 10 hours in a 14-hour period after 8 hours off duty. The operator responsible for the safety operation condition or vehicle. The safety measure operator should take the break at the rest stop of becoming the fatigues and sleepy after the parking the vehicle. Will go out with walk around the stretch of the marshal. Rest of the stops are especially important on the long trip requiring many hours of the driving. Warning: extended period of the driving often result of the driving fatigue, physical, mental fatigue brought with extended periods of the time behind the wheel with a frequent problem encountered with the operator. The operator is often made dove in the wheel with the loss of control of the vehicle, resulting in serious faulty mishap. Mountain driver. The force of gravity plays a major role in the mountain driver. If you have a heavy loaded, full loaded bus, you may be selected lower gears to climb the hills. When you go down the steep hill, you pull the gravity speed that you up. You must go slow on your brakes and could hold back without overheating. If the brakes become too hot, they may start to fade. This means you have to apply them harder and harder to get the same stopping power. When the brake continues to be used hard, they continue to fade until you cannot slow down and stop at all. Alright, use of the gears no matter with the side of the vehicle that you are descending with the steep of the grade, going too fast for the cover, the brakes to fail. Low gears always allow the engine compression from the friction to slow the vehicle to true. Whether it has an automatically manual transmission, the operating large vehicle with the manual transmission fully loaded bus, do not wait until they start the downhill to shift down. You get hung up at the neutral, find yourself coasting, which is not only illegal but is dangerous. Remember to choose the right gear before starting downhill. For older trucks, rule of thumb of the choosing the gear, the same gear downhill, and for that you use to climb the hill. New trucks that have a low friction part with the streamlined shape of the fuel economy often have more powerful engines. It allows you to go up the hills higher gears. They also less friction in the air of the drags them hold them going down a hill. For this reason, the operator's new truck would often leave the lower gears down the hill needed to go up in the hill. Proper braking. When going downhill, brakes tend to heat up when the engine of the brake pad shoe rubs against the brake and strakes the drums, creating the brakes designed to withstand the intense heat. However, the brakes can fail. Excessive heat will try to slow down the high speed too many times. The quickly brake phase they have less of the stopping power when they go to the hot non-slow vehicle. The correct way to use the brake from the long down grades is go slow enough to fair light the use of the brake prevents the speeding increase them go slow to the brakes cool down. Some operators think the backing off the brakes for the time to time fanning and allowing them to cool off to prevent overheating. Tests have proven that it's not true. The brake drums cool slowly, so the amount of the cooling between the applications is not enough to prevent overheating. The tip of the brakes require a heavier brake of the pressure for the steady application. The heavier pressure used the brakes build up more than the lighter continuous pressure does. Therefore, selecting the right gear with the slow will maintain the lighter, steadier of the brakes. Excess escape ramps are constructed with the most steep of the mountain grade. They use to stop and run away the vehicle without injury. The driver, the passenger. Escape ramps are along the bed of the loose, soft material such as pea, gravel, the sand that's just over the runaway vehicle. Sometimes they are a combination of the upgrade. Alright, vehicle recovery. Recovery major operator during any recovery option always use the provision procedure haphazard approach to the recovery problem. The use of the trip error, the method can costly mistakes such as the mistake of the deadline to disable the vehicle longer than necessary, that you cause the valuable time damage equipment, the potential personnel, self-recovery of the vehicle's recovery. With records recovered, the vehicles discussed in this section. Records. Recovery using record checks should be performed with the trained recovery personnel alpha the company with the transportation division, understanding the ability of the vehicle to winch, lifting, to other very important. The depth of information referred to the operator's manual with relief of the operation of the specific equipment and the specific abilities. Mired truck. The recovery of the mired truck used the record truck was not always easy to ask because it involved the resistance of the bed and the approach to the low of the distance between the wrecker and the mired vehicle. The direction pull of the resistance created by the mired vehicle less than the capacity of the wrecker. Caution: now the winch cable around the hump of the vehicle wrapping to a cable around the bumper of the wired wheels will result in a bent bumper. The example of the simple winching operation shown in Figure 5 some of the winching operation. More typical mired truck may have the resistance greater than the wrench of the track capacity of the wrench. Although the record may not be aligned to itself with the truck due to the terrain. If so, use the 2-to-1 mechanical advantage. Change the direction of the puller shown in Figure 5-7 nose up. Nose truck, Figure 5-7, the simple wrench operation directs pull. Note: the recovery of the nose truck using the wrench truck may require the towing operation. Some situation may require 3 capabilities of winching. 5-7 mechanical advantage of the changing of the direction of the winch. Winch change of the direction. Lifting and towing the trucks complete with recovery show the mechanical disabled 2.5 ton on the truck over the narrow road of such a way that the wrecker cannot be positioned directly behind the vehicle. We may know if the wrench cable is not running in the direct straight line with the winch. At once the normal winch angle to cover the wire rope to wind off the side of the winch drum. However, the wrench is the left level winding device off the difference. All other vehicles and winches don't have the device. Alright, an overturned truck. To operate the overturned truck with the wrecker truck, the duty of the slide method attachment because of the pulling force applied at one point of the frame. The result of the bent frame, the slinging lifting attachment made with up with either two utility chains, 2 1-inch fiber ropes. The sliding sling end attached with the front and the rear lifting of the device to the whole side of the overturned truck, and then the winch cable attached with the center of the sling of the holding force required to prevent the overturned vehicle from crashing into its wheels, holding the force. Figure 9, riding over overturned truck, and 5 to 10 highway tow. Another vehicle with a wrecker boom with the rope of the block of the tackle, the manpower. The attachment holding force of the holding sling attached with the same pull with the overturned truck with the pulling sling with the holding sling attached with the holding truck. Fourth, the wire rope with the chain with making surface of the holding force attached with the center of the sling. Holding the vehicle not available to use the wrecker boom. The hold the letter is shown in figure 5-9. Apply the power gradually with the winch until the overturned truck with the vertical position over the truck on its wheel, the hoist wrench rather than booming out with the crane. Note, maximum the use of the boom, the jacks. Outriggers should be employed with the use of the method, use of the towing. A wrecker truck that capable of towing vehicles over the way the proper procedure safety guidelines showing the important factor of preventing the damage of the vehicle and injury to the personnel. The basic procedure of the guidelines for the highway towing, the cross-country towing as follows. Highway towing attach the tow bar with the lifting shack out of the disabled vehicle, the wrecker truck tow pendle. All wheels of the towed vehicle should be on the ground. A tow bar driver does not require the towed vehicle. See figure 510. Figure 10 show the highway tow. Cross-country tow. Over rough terrain, aircraft with the tow control of the towed vehicle well. The proceed rigging of the cross-country tow is the follows. Attach the chain lifting the sling and hoisting the bar between the front and the lifting shack with the track. Attach the tow chain with the wrecker to the pintle with the lifting shack with the disable the truck. 3 play for the hoist. Hook a block on the lifting sling at approximately 12 inches off the ground. Extend the boom to remove the slack from the tow chain and keep the towed vehicle from the ramming the rear of the wrecker truck with the supporting of the beam of the ship of the brace for the prevent impact of the crane mechanism. Figure 511. In front end vehicle damage for the use of the cross-country towing the event, even through the disabled vehicle being towed without the highway tow bar instead of the tow chain. Alright, see the Lycan vehicle recovered. The winch equipped with the mired vehicle that was in form of the self-air recovered after a snatch block of the shootable anchor with the free end with the cable, the chain sling with the connect with the both the front with the sling lifting shack with the mired vehicle, the flex block with the mechanical advantage self-winching operation. Even though the sheave the block the performing the first class lever the sheave figure 512 uses a similar wheel vehicle to score the effort to perform recovery the towing the wrenching of the vehicle does not equipped with lifting shack with the attached to the toe of the chain main structural members of the before towing recover the disabled vehicle. Check the vehicle operating manuals to ensure the physical safety feature of the conservative must be done with the prevent additional damage of the disabled vehicle. To cover the mired truck with the tow of the similar vehicle with the 2 chain with the wire rope sling between the tow vehicle and the mired vehicle to attach one with the lifting shackle to the mired vehicle through the toe of the pintle with the towing vehicle. Apply power slowly to prevent shock of the towing the device. Lifting shock with the one towing the vehicle is not obtained with sufficient towing after they overcome the resistant evening the towing vehicle to tandem the first arrow in figure 513. Figure 511 cross-country tow. Figure 12 self-winching. Figure 13 likely vehicle recovery. Figure 514 winching like vehicles. To winch the mired truck with the use of the truck with the winch for the equal to greater capacity to perform the recovery. Often the winching recover the vehicle to encounter anchor more than its own weight. Play for the vehicle wheel blocks and chocolate natural material and the front of the front wheel to recover the vehicle with the speed. Figure 514. For more information on the vehicle recovery operation field manual 2220 international signs and symbols, signs and road signs. The international system with the traffic control devices emphasize the picture of symbols rather than written. The symbols have the several advantages. One over the words areas such as the following. They provide almost instant communication with the driver because of the understanding of the glance they have at the red. They overcome the language of the barrier for the important because of the growth of the international travel. Familiarity with the symbolic sign that can help the Americans travel abroad, but as well with the foreigners visiting the United States. As the new signs are introduced, companion words will also be used. The public can become the accustomed to the new system. Figure 515 show the several traffic signs marking the use of the U.S. roadways. Additional international signs, road signs are illustrated in appendix 2. The color shape of the side of the arc important. Color red indicates the stop of the prohibition. Green shows the movement that permitted the give the direction. And blue, first sign with the leading of the motor. The surface is yellow indicates the general warning. Black on white indicates the regulatory sign with the over the speed limits. Orange conveys the construction maintenance warning. Brown is the public recreation scenic guidance. Shape. Diamond shape to signify the warnings. The rectangular shape, the longer dimension. Vertical containing the traffic. The regular rectangular signs, the longer dimension. Horizontal containing the guidance. Information. Octagonal means stop. Inverted triangle means yield. Pennant means no passing. A pentagon shows the presence of the school. A circle means the railroad crossing. Pavement markings. Road markings on highways are yellow and white, though however each of the different mentions of the white and the line separate the traffic going in the same direction. Yellow marking the separate line with traffic traveling different directions. Or yellow, solid yellow lines indicate that there shouldn't be no passing in either direction. Broken yellow lines indicate that you can pass with caution. Remember that you are traveling on highway traffic going in both directions. Solid white lines indicate that there should be no lane chart. There should be no lane charted. There are usually stop lights, turning lanes for the intersection. The broken lines indicate the cautious line and change of the lanes may be made. Alright, Metropolis, trail, bike route, camping, hospital, deer crossing, farm machinery, two-way traffic, dividend highway ends, merge, keep to the right, and but no passing zone. Chapter 6, Transportation Operations.